Hey, Giga here from Mix Analog. We got quite a few questions about the tape machine lately, so I'll try and cover as much of them in this video. It's a pretty simple system, and it's easy to get good results out of it once you know just a few basics. I'll assume you already know how to book a session, but if you don't, it's been covered in our first live webinar that's still up on our YouTube channel. So, let's get to it. So this is the app screen where you do most of your processing. The three units that are part of the product are the I/O unit, the analog volume controller, and the tape machine. The controls on the volume controller are set up so that they allow for a slight stereo balance correction if needed, and general level control. The display on the tape machine shows the estimated tape time left on the reel. When it reaches somewhere close to 0, the tape will automatically rewind, which takes somewhere around a minute and a half. The whole deal about using the tape is of course the level you send into it, and there are two gain stages that you can use to set it. The first one is the output level, up here on the I/O unit. This is digital gain of your source file before going to the DA conversion. The level change is reflected on the meter right next to it. The second one is the analog volume control unit. This is a buffered passive attenuator with 6 dB of gain when maxed out, and the internal headroom of this box is roughly around 22 dBu. What that means is that if you output a maxed out signal from the DA and max out the volume control unit, the buffers may start to have trouble reproducing the level and distort the peaks, so be careful there. The AD and DA converters are calibrated to plus 18 dBu at maximum digital level, and the tape machine is calibrated to plus 6 dBu at 0 VU, which is in other words the nominal RMS level of the tape recorder at which it still operates to spec. This might seem like a big difference, but remember that the converters are referenced to peak level and the tape machine is referenced to RMS level, which are usually at least 10 dB apart, most often even more, so that brings us pretty close together. That said, the Telefunken M15 was designed as a mastering grade recorder and can take quite a lot of level before it starts obviously distorting, but it will start to gently saturate at higher levels. Okay, so that's a lot of numbers and dBus and all that, but what does that mean in practice? In a nutshell, if your mix or stem wasn't heavily compressed or limited before going to tape, you will have to squeeze as much volume out of the input stages as possible to get the tape machine to saturate. To be clear, you don't have to do that to benefit from passing the signal through tape, but in some cases that's the sound you're looking for. So if you really want to fry your signal, first use the output level in the I/O unit to maximize the DA output level, but be careful not to clip it. I would suggest aiming for -1 dB on the top meter and then applying up to 4 dB of gain with the analog volume unit. The usual practice is to play the loudest part of the song and check your levels there. If you're only after the tape warmth, keep an eye on the AD meter, that's the lower one on the I/O unit, so you're not clipping the converter and thinking that it's the tape that's doing that. But on the other hand, the world's converter soft clipping does actually sound good, so I'd say it's no big deal if you clip a peak or two. To give you a fair representation of what the Telefunken M15 sounds like, I'll try to level match the output signal and switch between the processed and the unprocessed version.
Reason to slow down, fill up with changing crowds, climbing higher and higher than we'd ever been prior, just to leave a mark. Climbing higher and higher than we'd ever been prior, just to leave a mark. But never wondering why, despite all this time.
One final note, if you really want to push the tape machine as far as possible into saturation, compress and maybe even limit the material before going to tape. The tape machine reacts more obviously to RMS level than peak level, so with a compressed audio source you'll be able to drive it even more without clipping the conversion stages or the volume unit. The same is also true for the mastering use case. To achieve the best possible signal-to-noise ratio, use the tape after compression, so you can pull the level up even more without clipping on the peaks. So, that was one comprehensive guide to our own, and to some extent any other tape machine. I hope it cleared up most of the questions, so you can get the most out of your session time at Mix Analog. That's all, until next time. Bye.